Prem Subhalavindra Bihari Lal Ki Jai Sitaram. Namaste everybody, and welcome to another night of satsang, our second night in this Devi Gyan Yagna that is being done in commemoration of the Mother's Day this year, 2022. Last night we started off and I did, for everybody's benefit, a history on what was the Mother's Day, what is Mother's Day, what it was when we talk about why the Sunday, why some of the traditions, some of the issues that people had with this Mother's Day, the commercialization, and what it represents to the rest of the world, as opposed to Hinduism, who celebrates Mother every day. We celebrate this person, this persona, this role that is integral in all our dealings, in all our doings. Then we went into our discourse taken from Brahmavaivat Puran, where we had Yashoda speaking to Krishna last night after he gets married to Rukmini, and she wants upliftment, she wants benefits, she wants blessings, and he guides her to go to speak to Radha, that Radha will give her that same type of discourse that Krishna does give in a different moment to Nanda Baba. And we hear from Radha the knowledge that would gain, that would give the mukti, the moksha, the liberation that she's looking for. And in it, she says, chant the name of the Lord. Don't look at him only as your son. Don't get confused. Don't be distracted by his leela. Know who he really is. And she describes names and what it means, and we went through those names. Krishna is one of them, and what it means. We spoke last night with Madhusudana in the different aspects of that name, and we talked about real life applications where women face abuse. We spoke about abuse in domestic situations where there's a pattern of control, there's a pattern of pain, and there are different types. We spoke about physical, emotional, psychological, financial, cultural, different types of abuse that exist, and the need for it to stop. So it highlighted that Krishna is the one who could remove that type of ill from your life. Then in another name, he is the one who could forgive the person who has made these type of mistakes. Let the person reform. Let the person just want to be better and consider it done. Because when you make that concerted effort to turn to him, that is all that is needed, and you'll follow through with consistency. And we heard about, okay, what was the name Radha? She speaks about herself at the end of last night's discourse. What does the name Radha mean? When we give children the name Radha, it was very clearly explained why she is the consort of Krishna, and what is her role. Wonderful discourse where Radha is teaching Yashoda Mata last night. Tonight we enter into Bhagavad Skand 10, chapter 85. I'm reading tonight, and we're using Lord Krishna and his example yet again. Tonight in our discourse, it shows the Hindu how to what extremes, the motherly figure, the mother is, and how she is supposed to be regarded, respected. What is the example for us to follow? Whilst others might interpret and put their spin in other religion, that is, Hindus are led by the example of Krishna, by the example of Parashuram, by the example of Sri Ram. There are many examples of how the mother is regarded in our dharma. And I did make the point last night that whilst others talk about it, we elevate the woman, we elevate the lady, the female role. We acknowledge the female role in the creative process. And you'll hear it tonight. It's being mentioned again by Vasudev. The role of the lady, the creative process, bringing into our conversation the words such as prana and sutra, the creative energies, the forces that are necessary not only within the physical woman, but in the female energy that pervades over this universe. That word, we have to get accustomed with that word. It's a very important word for the girls, and it is something we as men need to respect. Last night was a phenomenal discourse for everybody to listen to how Krishna stops all that he is doing. He's just married, but he still takes the time to care for them, his parents. And where does that lead Yashoda? Tonight now, we're going to hear of a different discourse with Devaki, Vasudeva, Krishna. Balram is there. And we'll hear about a devotee by the name of Bali. Tonight, before we go further, let me invite all of you as you are joining, as you're coming on, to like tonight's satsang, share the satsang so more and more people can view it. And remember to leave me your comments, your questions tonight, and I'll get back to you later. Everybody, at this point, let's all join our hands as we enter with prayer. Om Gajananam Bhutagana Disevitam Kapeta Jambo Palachara Bhakshitam Umasutam Sho Kavinashakarakam Sarvamangalamangaliye Shive Sarvatra Sadhike Sharanye Trayambike Gauri Narayani Namostute. At this point, remember your guru. Remember that individual. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. One more time, everybody. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki Jai. Now many people did message Pandit, loved the discourse. Pandit, different people requested different discourses. Many people very perturbed today. We had this incident with the temple where some vandalism occurred, and I want to be clear, I am not encouraging any type of vigilante or any type of harm or that type of behavior. There is a legal lawful avenue, and we must follow that. we must not degrade into that level. It is very wrong. It is, I condemn it. But the fact is, in this country, that type of hate crime is not going to be condemned by anybody other than little people. Where, and this is my observation, this is what I expect. I don't expect anybody to stand up and say, listen, this is unacceptable, we cannot do it, this is wrong. Other religious groups are not going to condemn it. But God forbid it happened to another religious group, I'm sure there would have been a lot of outcry. Amongst our own circle, there are many people, Hindus, forget other groups, Hindus, that will brush it off and pretend it did not happen, as many incidents happen, and it did not interfere with their life. It did not interfere with their family, so what's the big deal? And I think that is our major problem. Case in point, this is Mother's Day weekend, but we have long forgotten all the divers, those families, those people that lost a father, a child, etc. For a weekend like this, I could only imagine, I don't know, but I could only imagine what it might be or may be for those people. But where there's no more public outcry for them, that's done. We know how the $2 ketchup ended up. That was paramount. The gas came and the gas rose, and everybody seems to have moved on. And this temple hate crime, just like all the women that have been missing and kidnapped, bodies found, do you remember their names? There was one young lady, they didn't even want to name her. Is anybody thinking about those young people, those women? In comparison to a pot, to a young lady, I think the young lady is more valuable. She has more worth. An inanimate pot would be changed. Of course, it's insulting and hurtful to those people that hold their place and their items secure. But I mean, there was robbery in the pharmacy in Shogunas, and there was no outcry. There is no issue. Why speak about it? Fact is, life is very cheap in Trinidad and Tobago, and crimes like these seem to go unpunished. There is going to be maybe a little social media bubble, a storm in a teacup. But will anything change? Will anything stop? For many Hindus, it did not interfere with them. So, who cares? Truthfully, for many people, it didn't bother. It didn't interfere with my temple. They didn't touch my pot. And that, I think, is the real problem. Because as a group, we are seen to be very laid back. And anybody could do anything in this country. It's apparent that anybody could do anything and get away with it. How many women are missing? How many women are abused, used, thrown away, tossed out from cars, etc. And it's not stopping. Look at the crime rate, the death rate, the murder rate. Is it stopping? And this may not be even mentioned at any, ministerial level, head of department level. There's no accountability. There's no need to address the Hindu group to say, you know what, we heard this thing happen, we're investigating, we'll get back to you. Don't expect that. Even for the Hindus that are there in public office, they will not speak about it. But had this happened in the Muslim religion, in the Christian religion, You have no idea. We could only imagine the reaction first from within their organization. But from ours, it seems it's not so bad. Think about that. Do you think our reaction is enough, sufficient, good? Do you think the reaction of our leaders is good? What is your opinion? Please send me a comment. But I am not endorsing any reaction. There's police, let them do their job. Just to be clear. Maybe we need to do more, demand more from our public officials. Maybe the councillor, the MP for the area needs to get involved and say something. All these are fine. But that is a hate crime. That could have been worse. When will it become worse? When somebody's in the temple praying and they're attacked too? When Hindus cannot do their rituals? When their rights to practice their religion is under some form of oppression? And physical damage is happening, then it will be serious. How much has to happen before enough is enough? Dear brothers and sisters, open your eyes and see where we live and how we live. We live under duress. We live, we're celebrating. What you're celebrating? What? Maybe you could tell me. Tonight, the only thing we have is to put our faith in our God to protect our loved ones. That is my personal belief. That is our text. That is all we have, because we pray for the police, we pray for the politician, we pray for the public official to do their job. We pray for these people that manage temples, the donors, the people that go there to clean God. Now we have to pray for their safety. When they go to the temple, they could be attacked for false jewels, that the murti that people took their sweat and blood and they bought gifts for their God. Now that is under attack. Will there be any real investigation? We'll wait and see. But dear God, please, be grateful that nobody didn't get injured. But it's hurtful. Hurtful. Tonight, God bless those people in that temple, that nobody was harmed. And I pray for the police to show interest and come back to the Hindu group. And I call on all, the MP, the councillor, the temple, our religious body, somebody stand up and speak. Speak for our people. Speak and account. If you're in public office, account to our people. Listen, this is unacceptable, and there's going to be a proper investigation, and we're going to hunt that person down, and we're going to get some results. Principal Vindravan Bihari Ki Jai. Tonight, as we go into our second night of discourse, we look at there's a difference between the life, the story of Devaki and the story of Yashoda. The prayer of our mother is showing the difference tonight. And it reflects in there where they end up at the end of Krishna Lila. Before we go forward, everybody, if you came in late to our satsang and you're now joining us, welcome. Here at the Sri Krishna Seva Ashram, we are hosting this Yagna for everybody to benefit, still online, still reaching you wherever you are. Meaningful discourses that aim to assist you in your spirituality. That is our goal. Let's do our Bhagavad Sumiran as we enter into Bhagavad tonight. Together, everybody, let's ask Lord Krishna for his blessings. Riddhi Siddhi Data Siddhi Sarana Varana Vadana Sumiro Bharambara Madana Kadan Ke Lal Ko Ganapati Kripa Nidhan Gyan Khani Ananda Bhavana Dehu Mohi Vardhan Varno Bhasha Bhagavat Jai Shivahanand Kand Bhutanat Bhaya Harana Bhakti Vishaya Nirvan Gauravarana Mangala Karna Jai 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 Jagadisha Sevat Shesha Mahesha Ja Mahimamita Bheva Veda Veda Janata Nahe Riddhi Siddhi Data Siddhi Sarana Varana Vadana Sumiro Barambar Sumiro Barambar Madana Kadana Ke Lal Ko. Together everybody. Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki Jai. Last night we spoke a lot about chanting the name of Krishna and what it would bring to you. Tonight Vyas Muni Sukdev Goswami is speaking. Let's hear where he's taken us in our discourse as he's speaking to Raja Parikshit, the grandson of Arjun, about all that had happened before. Parikshit is listening for his blessing, for the upliftment that he's looking for. Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah Muninam Savachaha Shrutva Putra Yor Dham Suchakam Tadvair Yor Janatvai Shravam Paribhyasya Vyabhashat Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah Krishna Krishna Mahayogin Sankarshana Satam Tana Jane Vamsya Yat Sakshat Praptya Dhana Purusho Paro Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatma Namo Namah. Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki Jai. On one occasion, Balaram and Krishna, coming back from Yagna that had happened in Kurukshetra, came to pay homage, came to check in with Vasudeva and Devaki. Vasudeva and Devaki heard how the sages were happy with these boys. Heard how they, as parents, you get good reports. These children did well, they act so nice, they have good ways. You could imagine the pride father and mother feel inside of them. And affectionately, Vasudeva starts to speak to Krishna and Balaram. And he says, "Oh Sankarshana," that's Balaram. "Oh Krishna, I know the truth about you two. I know you are the inner dweller of all things. You are the agent, the instrument of this universe. You are the source. You are the form and the formless in this universe. When the universe evolves, what it becomes is you. Where it was before, it is also you. You are the Prakriti, the female, the energy, the creative force, and you are the Purusha. You are the one who merges with Prakriti to make creation. You are the Prana energy, you are the Sutra energy, the different energies that are given in Ayurvedic texts about the creative, the energies that make, the energies that heal, the energies that give motion, the energies that give growth, etc. You are these things. You are the loving light of the moon. You are the heat of the fire. You are the splendor of the sun. You are the twinkling of the stars in the sky. You are the streaks of lightning, O Krishna. And he goes on as he's doing the stotra to praise him. And in it, he talks about different types of sound. When people have a speech impediment, when children have a lisp, when they have a stutter, when there are these things, sometimes you might think what to do. Vasudev lets out a secret here. He says, you are the subtle sound, spota, which is called the para form of speech. You are the sound om, the Pashyanti sound of speech. You are the Madhyam form of speech. And the articulate, the intricate sounds, Hari, words, vocabulary, tense, these type of grammar, etc. These abilities for some people have different reach, different understanding, different ability in terms of understanding language. But why he's saying you are these things, the benefit to you and I, when there's an issue with these things, there is prayer, there is mantra to assist. When people are doing prayer, when we have the Mundan Sanskar, and speech becomes part of the prayer. When you are doing the Annapurna and you are feeding first, you're praying for that tongue and the esophagus to work properly, the entire excretory organ, the bowel, everything to work properly. There is prayer. My point is, there is prayer. When the child is within the belly and that 6 months sanskar is being done and it's into 9 sanskar, and you are praying for the brain, now that the body is starting to get solid and all the systems are coming together, let everything start to form. But the brain, the spinal cord, everything, let it, all the neurons, nervous energy, let it work. So no birth issue, no mental issue, no hormonal issue, etc. And in different points in the development of the child, there is prayer as Hindus that we use. This is just a reference. You are the tamas side, you are the bad side, the false pride, the ego. You are everything. And he listed out, just as gold could be mixed with everything and have different features. Now you take gold and you mix it with different metals, it will be more malleable, it might be harder, it might be less shiny, it may be more shiny, etc. It may change color, like how you could have white gold. You are that type of metal that could mix and make everything. But you are there still. The identity of the metal is there. You could still separate it. All these things that are created, when you make pralay, you reabsorb. You take back everything. You are the person who allows the universe to come forth, and then you allow the universe to recoil in a destructive way. Like if you are recycling all the different energies, atoms in this universe. You are the one, if sansar is a wheel, oh Krishna, you are the one who is turning the wheel. after listening to all these words, Vasudeva says, it is my blessing to have been in that jail cell, to see you take form that night. But I am bound in this world by affection to this body, and I am caught because of the relationships this body has, such as wife, son, etc. They are mine. I hold on to them. I realize you as my sons, and at the same time I look at the two of you as the controllers of this universe. From the day you came into that jail cell, O Krishna, I became blessed. And I know your story. I know you came here to release the burden of the earth. I know all of this. And still I look at you as my son. I'm still trapped. O friend of the afflicted, I am now throwing myself at your feet, and I am asking you for help. Free me from the gaze of this body being mine, and help me to uplift myself. When we were in that bed chamber, you did say that because of our karma, it was ordained that in the different birth we had Prishni and Sutapa, Kashyap and Diti. Now we come as Vasudeva and Devaki. In every yoga you come to us. And still I feel like I cannot comprehend you. You whose Maya is woven around me, please release me. Krishna, listening to these things that his father had said, he says, "O great king," bowing to him, your speech is full of philosophy for all the different things he's talking about. And we accept it, all that you have expounded to us, your sons. But three of us, all the different creatures, members of the Yadhu dynasty, have a role to play. And it is true that this body is temporary, but by constantly seeking the truth, by constantly seeking that inner divinity, you are already on the road to liberation. Know that that is truth. Just as the sky, the air, the elements, the fire, the water, the earth becomes in different forms, manifest, unmanifest, one day it all has to be recycled into me. And fear not, you are never separated from me. One day you will come to me. And they bowed to him. In this way, O Parikshit, when Krishna speaks to him and the notion of diversity is moved away. You know, in Bhagavad Gita, he says, this universe is me, but I take form in the universe as well. And when sometimes we think we have to go to God, is there a place? And I want you to think about what I'm saying here now. Last night we said it, we always say it. We have to go to heaven. We have to go to God. We have to go where God is. God is there in the sky, in the heavenly region. You know what I'm saying? Is there a place where God is not? And this is what he's basically in a roundabout way telling him. You will find me, but you are already here now with me. I am already with you. It's just you don't realize it. There are some people that think, I will go and desecrate their temple. This is where their God lives. This will mash them up. But then the Hindu will say, But God don't only live there. You look very stupid. You think you have done. What have you done? Is that four walls the only place that God lives? To show how small-minded and pitiful some people are. Look at the action. Look at the intent. Judge the person. Look at what they tried to do. It could have been a homeless person, really needed to cook something. But the intention was harm, it was to steal, it was to plunder. But we hear about these things even in our text. We hear about the thief who went in the temple and he uses his dhoti to light the diya so that he could see what was by the lingam, and he steals all the sweets. But the people in the temple went, beat and kill him. The same people who were praying to God. But Lord Shiva, he blessed the guy for bringing that little Inca light on the lingam. He gets salvation for doing that. There are many examples. The workings of the Lord is truly intricate. He's in charge. And he, sometimes when you don't expect him to release a blessing on somebody, he does. And we read it all the time. This is just one example. Sometimes when we hear about a thief, we are in reality, thieving is bad, it is hurtful, especially when they harm people. But in our text, we hear about people being guided by this unseen form that takes them with their bad thoughts in a place and they evolve. Think about the hunter on the tree trying to shoot the deer and he knocked it down bay leaf for Lord Shiva. Think about Valmiki, who was a robber side the road that becomes possessed by the Lord and eventually writes the epic Valmiki Ramayana. There are many examples of that. Easy to say when you're not involved, I agree. But it is something to think about. He tells Vasudev, you are already in me. I am in you, and you are surrounded by me based on what you just said. You called me the creative force, you called me this force, you called me that animate, inanimate form. So clearly you are around me. You called me the light of the sun, the star, the moon, everything. So you are looking, listening, tasting me. But sometimes we forget that. And we take God and we compartmentalize him and we say he's over there. And maybe in our explanation, our strive, because in one of our texts, the goal of life is what? To get liberation, to become free from the birth and death cycle. So when I come out of this birth and death cycle, I go where God is over there. I'm just using it as a way for you to understand me. He's over there. So I want to go there. He's in heaven. But friends, as he's telling to Vasudev here, I'm right here. There is nothing without me. The sun, the moon, you just said it. The sun, the moon, the food, the animate, inanimate, everything. The atomic energy, the atomic structure of everything. The bond that holds two atoms together for school children. That is where the Devi lives. That attraction that is locking the electrons together. Locking them together. Joining them together. That unseen energy, it sounds familiar? The unseen energy, it exists in everything. So likewise, God is everywhere. And when he said it in this way, and he explained that to Vasudeva, he says, you think about that. Refine your thoughts, O Father, but rest assured, I am with you and you are within me. Vasudeva becomes very quiet, very lost in thought, smiling, as if he was given a sweet something very tasty, something very delectable. And he became very happy internally first, and then his smile came. And he realized that his sons had given him joy and happiness. Because of their words, not only their actions, what other people were saying, now they had brought happiness and joy to his heart. And he felt contented. He felt filled in that moment because of the activity of these children. And now it was time for them to go and look for Devaki. Devaki is waiting on them. She knows. She is hearing the conversation. Imagine it in your mind. But she is waiting because something is bothering this mother. Let's hear what happens. Sita Rama kaho, Radhe Shama kaho. 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 Krishna Ramo Samrish Yavya Putran Kamsavi Himsitan Smaranti Kripanam Prahavekal Vyadho Shrulok Chanayati Rama Rama Pramematma Krishna Yogeshwareshwara Vedahanam Vaman Vishvesh Sri Janmishvesh Ravidena Purusha Sitarama kaho, Radhe Shama kaho. Sitarama kaho, Radhe Shama kaho. Sitarama kaho, Radhe Shama kaho. Syapati Ramachandra ki jai. Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki jai. Devaki Mata is waiting. Imagine sitting comfortably, but the sun comes and she's angry. The mother is angry with the children. She pulls back the foot when they go to bow. She turns the face when they go to kiss her. And they're wonderstruck. And Krishna now, with the sweet tongue, Ma, so you kiss your son. Does your children mama guy you? Mother's Day. Do you get the love of your children? Somebody, tell me. Send me a message. Let me talk about something good. Do you get to enjoy, no matter they get old, they get gray themselves, do you still get to enjoy the kiss, the embrace of your children? Because as a pundit, I'm celebrating my first Mother's Day without my mother. And I'm choosing to do it this way because I know this is what she would want. Sometimes when they are gone, then you start to think about, oh, I wish I could hug my mother today. I wish I could hold she one last time. For me, I understand this was very good. Because for me, I used to enjoy troubling my mother. I used to choke she, I used to take she food, I used to do she all kind of wickedness. What, as children, if you're viewing tonight, what you just do? What is your take? Or will you wait one day everybody have to go? Will you wait until that day comes and then you say, you know what, I should have, I could have, should I do it? Mothers tonight, do you get to enjoy moments like this where your children come but they play with you? You still get that? Do you get that? They're wonderstruck because of her mannerisms to hear that their sons were there, because she's looking at Balaram as her son as well. They hadn't seen each other for some time, but Devaki Mata is upset for something. And then when Krishna tries to get from her what's the problem, Devaki starts to cry now. She says how pitiful it is when you are a mother, that the burden that you have to hold in this wretched form called woman, to call yourself a mother. And everybody expects you to smile. You want me to smile, Teddy? Oh Kanha, oh Balaram. You want me to smile. And what am I remembering? I'm remembering all my children that have died. All those children that I saw their heads smashed against the walls of that jail cell so many years ago by my brother Kans. And you want me to smile? Do you think the heart and the life of a mother is one that is soft and filled with joy only? But because of the strength of that lady, she takes in sight of all the struggle and she still makes your life comfortable, the life of the child. But oh Kanha, you are cruel. Listen to this. You are cruel. You are called Kripa Raj and you give everybody whatever they ask you for. Vasudev is a great soul. Last night we spoke about the difference between the soul inside the man and the soul inside the woman. She's referring it here. Vasudev is a great Maha Atma, great Mahant, that whenever he has yag, whenever he calls you to eat, whenever you speak with him, you are lifting him up, guiding him and giving him every opportunity to get what he wants. Every desire in his heart is granted. So much so, he is left, look at him, he is left speechless now. But oh, this pitiful fool. And you come to kiss? Knowing my heart is full with grief, don't I deserve mercy? Don't I deserve your favor? What did this mother do that she is forgotten? Oh Krishna, take your sweet tongue and answer me dear. So Krishna is still confused. Ma, why are you talking so? Mother, a mother is the sattvic nature. You are the spirit of time. You are everything, Ma. You taught me everything. And the mama guy and it working. I heard the truth coming out now. I remember with mommy, sometimes I'm in trouble. I get in both for something. I don't know if your mother used to do it. Let me talk about Mother's Day, right? Then we remember the ladies and them and see if your mother and my mother had anything in common. Sometimes you get in trouble and you're getting both for something and you're taxing your head. What do you know? And it just had to stay humble. And it used to come. Here's what she says. I have heard that whilst at the hermitage of your Guru, who is the Guru of Lord Krishna, and Sudama, remember, Rishi, Muni, Sandapani, Bhagavad. You were at his ashram and you studied there for a short period. And I've heard, and this is after Kans was killed in Mathura, where she first sees him as a teenager. He goes all somewhat grown. He wasn't a little boy. that time was spent with Nanda and Yashoda. And he goes to finish that time, that study, not with Garg Muni, who had given him the name. Garg was Vasudev Pandit, but Sandapani be introduced to him as the teacher, let's say for the secondary school years. So he goes there for a few days, short period of time. This is the place where Sudama cheats Krishna when they go on the tree, and he tells him he has no rice and he has the rice, and for that Sudama is cursed, as it were, to go through hardships in his life. She says, I heard, very calm, very crass, and now she has the undivided attention of these two, because they want to know very clear what it is, what am I being accused of, because they know we didn't do anything to upset mommy. So very interested. See the picture in your mind. While she was there, I heard there comes a moment that Sandapani Rishi's Dakshina had to be paid. A gift of gratitude had to be given to complete the transaction of knowledge and a gift of gratitude, as per Gita, as per our tradition. Guruji says, there's no money, I want nothing. You were here for a little bit. And Krishna says, is there any seva, any work I could do, anything I could do to let that be the dakshina? But I don't want to owe you, Guruji, for all that you have given me. The knowledge the Guru gives lifts the person, changes their life, brings them closer to that mukti that we want. So don't owe the individual, don't take from anybody, but make sure and always pay that debt. You know, long time somebody send, the neighbor send 2 cucumbers, we used to send back a tomatoes. Thank you, I don't want to owe you. She says, so nice. He says, yes ma, I did that. Do you remember what your Guru says? Guruji says, for me and your Guru Mai, there is only one desire we have. Our son died a long time ago, but you are the controller of all the pitras, Hariyama Pitra. If you journey to the abode of Yamraj and bring back, return our son to us, there is nothing to compare to that gift. That is all I want in Dakshina. That is all I want from you. And you will have my eternal gratitude, my blessing. It will be with you. So great, Krishna. And what did you do? You went to Patal and you got your god brother and you returned him. You are so great, Krishna. But Devaki sits here, scarred and trauma fill her mind. Anybody who had a miscarriage, anybody who had a stillbirth, you understand better than any man here tonight, definitely despondent, what this lady is talking about. Anybody who lost their child to COVID, an accident, an incident, some murder, some kidnap, some rape, something, you understand what she is saying. God saves everybody, but I have to live with that trauma. This instance, she's special. If we could get blessings to speak and to be heard and to see change, wouldn't it be nice? Krishna says, Ma, I did that, but I did not mean any transgression against you. I didn't do it with you in mind. I didn't mean any harm. I didn't mean anything against you, Mommy. Devaki now. Sukadeva Goswami, Vyas Muni says, now tears have washed her face totally. O Parikshit, Krishna wanted to please her. Krishna wanted to appease her as well. He says, Ma, tell me what to do. Ma, tell me what you want. Mommy, tell me what you need. She says, I wish. Now, remember, these children, put the timeline in your mind. These children were older than Krishna. At this time, Krishna has finished studying. He's a king in his own right. He's grown. It is time. Time has passed. And what she says is, I never got to breastfeed. I never got to breastfeed a child. Not one. Let's hear what happens in this sloka. Achyutam Keshavam Ramanarayanam. Achyutam Keshavam Ramanarayanam. Krishna Damodaram Vasudevam Hari. Sridharam Madhavam Gopika Vallavam. Sridharam Madhavam Gopika Vallavam. Janaki Nayakam Ramachandra Bhaje. Tatoha Samniya Varasambali. Sutala Talye Nripati Maha. Atmanostiyoha Dharayetam. Dwarpalo Padaviniyojatam. Tajate Jwalasa Vrindayate. Abhrama Mupad Ye Dhamo Yeha. Achyutam Keshavam Krishna Damodaram. Achyutam Keshavam Krishna Damodaram. Ramanarayanam Vasudevam Hari. Achyutam Keshavam Satyabhamadavam. Madhavam Sridharam Radhika Radhitam. Indira Mandiram Chetasa Sundaram. Devaki Nandanam Nandajam Sandane. Saindra Seno Bhagavat Par Bhoj. Vebon Muha Prem Vidhan. Vidya Atmano Hananda Jwala. Kule Aksharya Pramaroma. Nipati Jaj Sa Gajaksharaksha. Achyutam Keshavam Ramanarayanam. Come on, everybody. Krishna Damodaram Vasudevam Hari. Vishnave Jishnave Shankarne Chakrini. Rukmani Rahini Janaki Janaye. Vallave Vallave Archite Atmane. Kamsavid Vamshini Vamshini Te Nama. Achyutam Keshavam Ramanarayanam. Achyutam Keshavam Ramanarayanam. Krishna Damodaram Vasudevam Hari Sridharam Madhavam Gopika Vallavam Sridharam Madhavam Gopika Vallavam Janaki Nayakam Ramachandra Bhaje Janaki Nayakam Ramachandra Bhaje. When you think something is impossible for God, understand that you are the limiting factor. If nobody said this, if God is limitless, last night I made the analogy that prayers is very similar to the medicine the doctor gives, Panadol, Tylenol, Advil, etc. But you and I, when we get the Tylenol in the hand and we have a headache, we don't think, I wonder if this will work, boy. You don't doubt the medicine. Step one, believe that when the doctor gives you the medicine, it will work. But when you and I think about God now, and God, that mantra, that procedure, that fast, that vrit, that tapasya, that jap mala, your yantra, your tabich, whatever, the basma, the hawan, I wonder if this will work. And there comes the first problem. This is a nice example. Devaki does not hold back. She sees the potency, she sees the power, like Vasudeva, she's witnessed firsthand, better than you and I, that the power, the legacy, the history, she knows it. But does she say, he cannot handle that desire? This is as saying, you know what? A child might say, you know what? Like, okay, let me use myself. In my days in school, if Ian watching, he know the truth. I was a horrible math student. I just didn't like maths, and maths didn't like me, to be quite honest. And my mother would tell me, pray. Go to lessons, do your work, do your diligence, but pray. Now, you're a parent, tell me. If I said, you know what, I don't think God could help me with maths, I'm not going to ask. I don't think he can handle that. I'm not going to. That is impossible. I'm not going to even think that God could make stupid me understand maths. There are people who pray like that, and by and large limit God. That it is ridiculous to go when you have a desire or you're troubled. Think about getting sick, having a family issue, a family, threatening moment, sickness, trouble, surgery, whatever. You name it, you know what I'm talking about. But it don't make sense, and you see it every day. You as a pundit, you're telling people, say your prayers, don't worry, that problem, don't worry, it's bad, it's hard, it's really not nice. Go to God with it. God will deal with it. God will handle it. God will make the appropriate steps with it. And it seems, tell me if you ever encounter this in your home, in your family. That will make sense. The girl break up with you. You're ready to kill yourself. You know the story. I in and out of the hospital because I only cut in mirrors. Oh God, I alone know about love. You know the story. Do Durga and Shiv Puja. Offer dar, you see. Mommy, your mother, that same mother have to have so much a belly. Because the same thing that is come from that belly, they sometimes do so much of level stupidness. When you really think about what a mother is, you really have to clap, Because you and I know what we did, what we do, what we say. But as they say, patience is a virtue. And what nobody does understand, a mother does understand, agreed? And we make mistakes and we put limits to God. But in this example, Devaki is not doing that. Vasudeva says, you are all powerful, right? And you're asking me for what I want. She frames it. And she now has his total, undivided attention because he wants to make her happy. She says, I never got an opportunity to breastfeed my children, to rehash the moments. As one by one the children came into the world, and the first cry, maybe you could imagine the midwife takes off the umbilical cord. Child cries. Kans is anxious. And this mamu holds on to the foot of the baby and twirls, as we are told in books, the body of this child, slamming, bashing, painting the wall with blood. She never got an opportunity to feed the child. For every mother here, the milk is ready, you know, but it had nobody to go to. She has the 8th child. And as the child came into being, he's ushered in a basket out of the jail cell. She says, I did not even feed you. I want to be able to feed my children. Now she is in a different stage in her life. Her living son, Krishna, is an adult, nowhere close to bearing milk. Go to Sutal. Sutal is that netherworld, that other region, that other realm, that other lok, as we would say, where the deceased remain. And return to me these children and let me feed them once. Krishna now gets to bow to his mother's foot. And immediately with Balram head to the netherworlds. There was no discussion. There was no wait and see or try or one day. It was immediate. His heart, with a smile on his face, went. And in this journey as he's going, there's a devotee waiting patiently for him. That person by the name of Bali. Bali was, remember when Lord Vishnu in earlier times had taken the dwarf Vaman form, and he placed one, when we tie the Bali or the Mauli on Vihan, it came from that discourse. Excuse me. Raja Bali tells Vaman, put the 3rd foot here. And he gains blessings. He gains upliftment. He gains greatness. And he goes to work for the Lord in Sutal, with the understanding that one day he in that role will meet with the Lord himself. Again, Lord Vishnu will come to look for him. In our text in Trinidad, in the Caribbean, we sometimes look at Bali as a bad person. He's sometimes depicted in cartoons as a bad person. The family he comes from has a history, definitely. But Bali in India, in that region where he was ruling, they celebrate him because he was a great persona. He was able to bring Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu goes to meet him now. This is what we're going to hear. And sometimes when we look at a scenario, we judge, but the history behind it is what we don't know. And what may look as a bad, as we learn in text sometimes, might have a good in it. This is why God is in charge, and we always say as a Hindu, God is the judge. When Raja Bali is told that Krishna and Balram are coming, they're seeing them, the people, the workers, the emissaries of Bali are telling him that someone looking like that Raja the king, Krishna and Balram, they're coming closer and closer. One dark, one fair, one big and strapped, one a little thinner. He's filled with so much joy, so much love, so much excitement. He's confused. He does not know what to do. But they prepare and they put their feet in big thali. They wash the two guests. They treat them with all kasturi tilak and all forms of sweet smelling flowers. They're placed to sit. And Bali says, my dear Lord, you have purified my area, my place by your presence. By coming here, my eyes have gained liberation. Prabhu, they feed him, they offer him everything that they could have, the best of the best. And everything was as if it is soaked with love, it is presented with love. The eyes are transmitting this message that I am choking with emotion, and he's on the verge of faltering with voice because of what is happening, and he starts to pray. Namo Ananta Brihate Namaha Krishna Vidase Sankasharnaya Yoginaha Tanaya Brahmano Paramatmane Namaha Darshanvam He Bhutanam Drushta Prayapta Chapa Durlabham Rajastavastavam Manayanna Prapnoto Shriyadhunatam. And he starts to pray to him very sincerely that, dear Lord, you are the one who is called Sheshnag or Anant, as we heard last night what Anant means. You are what is Anant, the persona, the person, the snake, and you are the energy that Anant has to hold up the hood is holding the world on the top of his head. You are the world, Prabhu. It took me time. It took me time to gain the drishti. Whilst I was on the earth, I was a king and I was only fighting and waging war, looking to get more land, get more money. I was only in the pursuit of those things, and I did not see who you were. You were always in my sight, but it was difficult for me to see. Just repeat that for yourself. The king now, in the seat of a person who has a better vision of God, you were always in my sight. You were always there. But for me to really see you was very difficult. People who master yoga still misunderstand you, still misplace you, still miss you. They do not see you. They sometimes don't even understand you. We, Daityas, Danavas, Gandharvas, Siddhyas, Vidyarthas, Karnas, Yakshas, Ogras, Rakshas, Goblin, Pisach, the people who are called Bhoot, Pisach, Pramatas, whether you call them heavenly or hellish creatures, all are guided by the gunas. And unless we have the darshan from you, everybody would miss you. Everybody would misunderstand you. They would get caught up in enmity about you. One thinking you are this. Tell me if this sounds familiar. One thinking you are this, and the other one thinking you are this, and they want to clash over you. Do you need it? No, because you are who you are. When people fight religious wars, when people attack other religions and do all these things, what do you achieve? Did our God lose today? I don't think so. Bali is saying the same thing here. People who attack because of a different, and there are many examples of this. In India, when there are the Vaishnavites and the Shivites and the Shaktas, and everybody has their own tilak and their own beliefs. In Trinidad, in the Caribbean, in the Western world, you could go and sing a Shiv bhajan in a Vishnu temple and vice versa. But in some parts of the world, you can't do that. A Ghorik Sadhu would beat you if you do not adhere to their rules. Naga Sadhu, different type of, system there, but licks could pass. Whether you look at it from within or external coming at, there are many people who claim to be religious minded, but sometimes, oh Prabhu, miss the entirety of your form. It takes great devotion to understand how big, how small, what is your true identity, and to overcome the limitations of our own minds to grasp how and who you are. Problem with us, we think God looks like us, talks like us. Have you ever gone and heard people speaking with an Indian accent? Because God apparently could only talk Hindi or Sanskrit. God does not speak Spanish, for example. However, remember, the first place that, in terms of history, where the Bhagavad Gita was translated outside of Sanskrit, Hindi, those two languages outside, was Russian, first place. So those people that follow, read, believe, study, I guess God did not accept those prayers. Tell me. Send my message. O Lord of all the pathway, Lord of all the yoga. Remember, yoga in Bhagavad Gita don't mean yoga. It means the walkway, the choice, the way you find your God, the way you, if you sing bhajan, if you do seva, if you give charity, if you do study, you read the books and all that. What is your yoga or pathway? You are the master of all the yoga, of all the pathway. You are the science of all, dear God. Many people fall off those pathways. They start and then they stop. Prabhu, you have to stabilize the person on that pathway. And if you don't give that support or permission, the person might start to sing the bhajan, and then somebody might break their heart, or somebody might die, or something happens, and then the person says, you know what? I'm done. I am not singing ever again. So the reason we were singing was not for the God, but for people. Maybe I get fat. Oh God, I get fat now, so I can't go and sing again. I'm married now, so I can't go and cook parasad in the temple again, for example. But I think you understand what I mean. But the ability to hold to that practice, because we are doing it, we are striving to do it for the God, for the right reasons, then there should be no reason to interfere with that practice once it is righteous. There's nothing to stop you. There is no distraction. There is nothing to shake your firm practice. That type of prayer, with your grace, allows a person to come out of the darkness in this life. I was caught in that darkness. I was caught in the householder lifestyle. I was caught in all the attachments and all this mine and mine and mine, and I have to get more. I have to fight this one. He talks about it in Gita. I have destroyed this one and I'm going to get so and so, and when I beat that one, I'm going to get more and I'm going to get. And he's saying the same thing here. As a king, that is all I was studying, nothing else. And then one day, you brought it to a sudden stop. And then everything made a little more sense. The serenity that I did not have, I have it now. Because I realize the truth. I know what is real and what is not real. O ruler of all the Jiva Atma, please impart unto me your command today. Absolve all of me. He had all his army, all those soldiers that had waged war whilst he was alive. They were there waiting on Lord Vishnu to come to them. Give us your command so that we could leave this place and ascend to the upper regions where we could be in your company, your service, your seva. For a person who abides by your command faithfully is not going to get punishment, but is going to be free to live, to enjoy, to have your company, to merge into oneness just by holding to that faith, following your commandment. A person would be able to reach to that heights. And I and all those that are here wish to achieve it. Krishna smiles and he starts to instruct him. Jai Bhole Baba Tab Sharanam, Jai Bhole Baba Tab Sharanam, Jai Bhole Baba Tab Sharanam, Jai Samba Sada Shiva Tab Sharanam, Asmaricha Pata Putra Unnayam Pranamam Antare, Marich Muniyo Ko Ye Jan Survi Virakshutaha Yati Yadham, Jai Bole Baba Tab Sharanam, Jai Bole Baba Tab Sharanam, Jai Bole Baba Tab Sharanam, Jai Samba Sada Shiva Tab Sharanam, Jai Samba Sada Shiva Tab Sharanam. Krishna says, he nods, he accepts what he has said, and it's now time for him to give an instruction, and by following and fulfilling the instruction of Krishna, Bali is about to gain the blessing that he wants. Lord Krishna says, in earlier times, in an eon, many eons ago, in the first Manvantar, in the first cycle of the 4 yugas, when creation had now started, there was a Muni by the name of Marich, his consort Urna. They had 6 sons. And in that time, God walked amongst men. And Brahma, together with Saraswati, was sitting side by side. And these little boys taught Saraswati to be part of the creation, not knowing that that Devi is always there. It's just this is a physical form. They laughed that this form Brahma has created a wife and she is part of his creation. What silliness is this? And they laughed at Brahma, Brahmdev, looking at them as this was an insultive, disrespectful act, put shrap on them. That you are going to be born in the race of Hiranyakashipu. That you will go into the womb and you will come and you will be like miscarriage, never get a chance to born. And after many lifetimes of that, then one day you will get upliftment. These were the boys that after many births, as he says, from that first Manvantar, subsequent come down. Those were the first 6 sons of Devaki. The 7th son, Sankarshana or Balaram, was transplanted into Rohini. And the 8th son was Krishna. These were the 6 sons that were murdered by Kans. And even now, Devaki is lamenting for these children, O Bali. They are here in Sutal, and they have been waiting, these souls have been waiting to get upliftment, mukti. For the soothing of the grief of our mother, we are here to take them from here to the place where my mother is. And they will be liberated by the taste, by the drinking of the milk from my mother. They would be freed from the fever of affliction that they are waiting to get freedom. Waiting to be freed from this hellish experience. Who are they? Prabhu and Krishna lists his brothers, his sons of Marich. Smara, Urgita, Parashwanga, Patanga, Shudra, Bhrita, Grami. These were the 6 sons of Marich. They will attain happiness and again go back to this graceful form they had. When this is done, they have been suffering for a long time. Oh Bali, do me the favor of bringing those souls now, and you will be freed from all, and you will be able to return to Vaikuntha. O great soul, O great one, together with all those that serve you, everybody would be able to merge into my form of Mahavishnu. Having explained the mission to Bali, Bali goes quickly and he finds these 6 forms. And Krishna takes charge of them, and they return quickly to where Devaki is waiting, and presented to her, now in physical form, 6 babies, as if maybe not newborn, but enough to hold up their neck, a little after. And by the touch of Krishna to his mother, kiss, as she was so pleased with this. Please listen to how a son, a child, goes out of his or her way to bring that what is this? Is this tangible goal? Is this gift? Or is it the tears of joy this mother is pleading for? The touch of Krishna, when she gets the kiss and she blesses her son for doing what brings that joy to her heart, something happens to her body. Achyutam Keshavam Ramanarayanam Krishna Damodaram Vasudevam Hari Sridharam Madhavam Gopika Vallavam Janaki Nayakam Ramachandra Vaje Apayayatastan Pratita Sutaha Stapar Shapi Riluyata Mohita Mayaya Vishnuryeya Shrita Parvartate Pithaye Mritika Achyutam Keshavam Satyabhamadavam Madhavam Sridharam Radhika Radhitam Indira Mandiram Chetasa Sundaram Devaki Nandanam Nandajam Sandade. Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki Jai. If you ever see, if you maybe children, if you're looking on and you Google it, in the older versions of Bhagavad, I'll see if I can get a picture and I'll snap it and I'll put it in a group for you all. There's a picture in some versions of Bhagavad where a woman is sitting and she's covered by babies. Babies are crawling all over her body. This is that discourse. This is the moment Krishna allows the 6 brothers to literally run over her, play with her, And by the touch, as he kissed her, by the touch of Krishna, by his power, milk started to make within this lady. And that milk, she says, now I am truly a woman. When she was beating her chest, she says, cursed is the woman that has breasts and never has the opportunity to feed a child with it. And she scolded herself as she beat her chest. Now, with motherly affection, by the touch of her children, overjoyed one by one, all of them, by the Maya of Mahavishnu, the controller of the entire cycle of creation, all of them got that Amrit from their mother. But that Amrit, touched by Krishna, because she was blessed, what was left, they gained mukti. Even Krishna took some in his hand and drank it. And because now he touched it, when they drank this Amrit, they became Jivan Mukt, they became uplifted. And right there in front of the mother and their brothers, the six transformed from babies into divine, adult looking like, heavenly, well-dressed, beautiful looking forms. And they bow and they pay homage to their mother first, Mahavishnu, Balram, Krishna, Balram. They asked that they truly be forgiven for their mistake. And the divine Devaki is overwhelmed with tears to witness all that is happening, to see her dead children play, to feel their love, to feel the pull on her body, and the milk is going. Vyas Muni says, Devaki thinks that it is all an illusion, because the souls went upward. It is all an illusion that her son created. O Parikshit, innumerable are these type of miraculous exploits of Lord Krishna. That Supreme Soul plays with the devotee, in this case, Devaki. He who devoutly, constantly listens to, recites this discourse and others like it. The eternal fame and glory of Krishna is presented here. The account highlights the venerable son of Devaki and Vasudeva. That person, when listening to him, about him, worshipping him, seeing him, removes the sin of all the sinful, like in this case with the little children, the boys. When the devotee, the true devotee, his ears, his head, his heart or her heart is full when listening to these types of discourses, that delight becomes, his name becomes a true ornament in that person's life and body. And just like those children, regardless to the mistakes that you and I make, regardless to the worst person, Bali, the children, whosoever, God accepts us all. The salvation, the mukti is not for some, but it is for all, or all those that are sincere and looking for it. Prem Subhavindravan Bihari Lal Ki Jai. Tonight, as I conclude this part, I hope you enjoyed another discourse that shows how Krishna, how our example, how our actor, how our peacock adorned boy, how he would celebrate his mother. And somebody asked me the question, we've spoken about Yashoda and what she's promised in Golok, but Devaki does not pray. She's lost in trauma. She does not pray for mukti. She prays for this, what we hear tonight, that she would be given this type of opportunity. And for this reason, Yashoda is the one who is spared all the pain. But the mother, the pain of what? Seeing Krishna die. But the mother, Devaki, she gives up in Bhagavad, she gives up in Mahabharata, she gives up the human form when she hears Krishna is no more. After Balaram had left, after Dwarka had gone into the water, when Vasudeva and Devaki in later time are informed by Yudhishthira that Krishna is no more, there, this person, she says, how can I live without him? And she gives up the human form. And what is the message? Tonight, we need to practice being a little more focused on what is our purpose, what is our goal. We don't allow ourselves to get pulled down, although we are tempted sometimes. We strive to rise and rise above situations of test, small ones, big ones. Nobody says it's easy, but you try, and in trying, practice trying, you would be able to get the bigger picture, to get the Lord, rather than get hooked on hurts and pains, wrongs and wrongdoing, wrongdoers, and being trapped in the cycle. This is where you learn to forgive. This is where you learn to move on. This is when you learn to forget. It's easy to say, but when you think about how impossible this discourse is, the actuality, to bring it into fruition, there is nothing too difficult for him. So if in your life you are dealing with the death of a loved one, you're dealing with the loss of a job, loss of money, the threat of life in different ways, loss of, the girlfriend, the boyfriend, the whatsoever, I still echo the call. Take it to God. Hold to your prayer. Don't run from it. I am not running from the topic. You know how I am. But the message is the same. Following the guide of our text, simple. Stay the course. Regardless. Principle of Vrindavan Bihari Lala Ki Jai. Tonight, and maybe we'll touch on it tomorrow night, one of the reasons why I did the Yag for this weekend, today is also Ganga Jayanti, Ganga Saptami in the book, in the Hindu calendar. And basically what that is when Ganga is first formed in the river. She was not always a river. There in Devi Bhagavad, I forget which book it is, but there's a little quarrel between Ganga, Saraswati and Lakshmi. And in that, they start to put trap on one another. And it is there that Lakshmi is told, you will become the Tulsi. And Saraswati is told she will become the Saraswati River. And Ganga is told that she would become the Ganges or the Ganga River. The whole thing about becoming this absolver of sin, remaining on the earth for a lengthy period of time. Saraswati is there for a shorter period of time. And it is in that discourse, and we could touch on it tomorrow night if you want to, because I know tomorrow is Mother's Day, and for some people they will be busy in the eating and that. I'm hoping that you make time in the evening for the praying side of it. Remember, Mother's Day is good, But whilst you have your mom, make sure and say thank you, God. Mother's Day, as I mentioned last night, is really supposed to be a day spent with your family in prayer, not just food and gifts and all that. That is when it became polluted. As Hindus, prayer is paramount, and it is that prayer that gets us over the rough waters. So I'm still here lending support, lending the satsang to reach you at a personal level, and I hope you could join with me tomorrow night. If you would like to hear a satsang, if you would like to hear a topic, please just send me a message and I'll read that topic. I don't know what I'm reading tomorrow night, and but I could bet you it'll be something interesting. I hope tonight you all have learned something. I hope that what it does, the intention, I have not polluted the discourse with opinions and gossip. We have talked about real life using some of the language of the stotra spoken by Vasudeva, Devaki, Krishna, the history of our text, and how it applies relevance to our life. We didn't stray from our topic. We stayed with God and God in our life, God granting our prayers and the need for that constant contact with Him, because we all have desires. Trouble could come at any time. Don't be a stranger to God. When you need Him, you must have Him. Just as how Devaki has a desire, but she knows Him, and He knows her quite well, and He wants to make her happy. Krishna is the one, Lord Vishnu is the one who says, I am a slave. When my devotee is earnest and has genuine desires, genuine prayer method, they're not selfish, they're not, I have to do what they say. An example of that is that that Tulsi discourse, when Lord Vishnu has to accept the shrap of becoming the Shaligram. I'll read it for you another day, but it shows the relation between God and the devotee, and the relationship that you have, not some, not Baba. All of us have the potential to have that type of relationship with Lord Krishna. It is just for us, as Bali says, you are in my sight. I see the sun, I see the moon, I see it, but I sometimes don't see you. And I want to leave you with that tonight. Until tomorrow night, when we speak more about, or last night when we go into our last discourse, as we would be closing our Ganga Saptami is closing tomorrow, and the Mother's Day would have been past, more or less, by the time we meet up. Well, for some parts of the world, for some people that will be watching live on the repeat, it would still be coming. So tonight, as I conclude, I hope you've enjoyed your discourse. I look forward to your messages, everybody, and I look forward for suggestions on what to read. I hope you are learning about your Dharma. And one thing Bhagavad does, it makes you filled with that devotion. You when you hear it, wow, I didn't know this. It gives you, if done correct, it gives you a sense of quietness. Just like Vasudeva. You're left contemplating, thinking about it. Quiet. And if that is happening, we didn't waste time this evening. Everybody, please draw your hands as we've come to the end of our time together this evening. I am really happy to have had you for the time. If you're watching on the repeat, God bless you. And I hope that you too have enjoyed this time. Please share this satsang with your loved ones, with your dear ones. Share it on your media for me, so that more people could hear about our Lord. And I need subscribers for my YouTube channel. Please, everybody, subscribe to the YouTube channel today, so that you'll be able to get more and more satsang like this when you need it on the go. Everybody, until tomorrow, God bless you, and I'll see you tomorrow. Let's go together, everybody. Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva, tvameva bandhu cha sakha, tvameva vidya dravinam, tvameva sarvam mama dev. Tvameva sarvam mama deva deva. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Prem Sablo Mahapati Mahadeva ki jai. Pavan Sutta Hanuman ki jai. Shri Adi Shakti Mata ki jai. Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki jai. Satya Sanatan Dharma ki jai. Jai Jai. Sitaram. Sitaram everybody. Until tomorrow night. Sitaram.